if you can listen with an idea of helping the other person, whatever it is, so like in business and life and in discipleship, if you can help the other person get what they want in life, then you can't help but win. And I think it was an opportunity for us to invite a lot of people on the journey with us and to see maybe what it looks like to lose with grace. And we're not mad at God. God didn't do this to us. We believe he did this for us because we'd had so much success up until this point that you start to just believe that everything you're going to do has success. And if we believe that, then maybe we're not really relying on God. And what we're realizing in a lot of this is, what I'm realizing in a lot of this is a lot of pride needed to die.
Wow.
There was a lot of me that just needed to die. I like to talk about relationships and relationship business, and that's REAL. I just think everything starts with real relationships. And if you can actually care about somebody on the other side of a transaction, an opportunity, a conversation, and really care about them, then magical things happen.
I just wanted to jump on here before you watch this podcast. I just need to be honest. I was challenged with Brian's story, and I want to thank him for being open and honest and vulnerable to areas that most people like to hide and not really share. He shares a story of a failure that he actually felt like knew God was directing him and his family towards this business venture, but it was an epic failure. So what do you do in those moments? And it caused me to open up scripture and to kind of wrestle with these setbacks, because even in failures, if God's asking you to do something, it's never a failure in the kingdom. There's always a purpose. Just like in the life of Joseph was sold into slavery and eventually went into the prison. He had a setback after setback, but it was a setup. So I just want to encourage you, if you're going through a time where it's a failure that God might have directed you towards, I hope this encourages you. I hope this podcast encourages you. And let me know if you've had an experience like that and you've seen God come out on the other end. I want to hear the story in the comments below. Go ahead and share and let me know what's happened to you. If you like this podcast, please be sure to subscribe, share it out. And I want more and more business leaders and entrepreneurs and owners to hear more stories of how the Holy Spirit's moving within the marketplace, because he's moving big time. And the marketplace is the next frontier for revival. So I hope this encourages you. And back to the podcast. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest is a powerful example of what it looks like to lead with excellence and faith in the marketplace. So Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm going to give you a quick introduction, and then we're going to jump right into your journey in the marketplace. So Brian White is a faith-driven entrepreneur and the founder of BlueFuse Group at eXp Realty, built on clear mission to glorify God by giving and serving and loving the community with excellence. Before real estate, Brian spent over 20 years leading large sales organizations, guiding teams of more than 130 people and stewarding over $1 billion in annual revenue, earning a reputation for strategic clarity, steady leadership, and people-first performance. Today, he brings that leadership into luxury real estate across the DFW market, where he's created proven frameworks like the signature sales strategy and the BlueFuse buyer blueprint, is a mouthful, which helps families navigate major transitions with confidence and peace. Beyond business, Brian actively serves through Faith-Driven Entrepreneur, the Valley Creek Church, and other community leadership roles. After 26 years of marriage, he leads First at Home, faithfully pursuing his wife, Tisha, and raising 3 sons grounded in faith. He's also the creator of the relationship business philosophy. Did I say that right?
You did. That's great.
It's built on a belief that relationships outlast transactions and legacy outlives metrics. I love that. So welcome to Marketplace Kings. Honored to have you.
Right on. I'm glad to be here. That sounds. I love that introduction. That sounds great.
You know that guy. Well, let's just begin. I want to hear your just rise through the business. You worked at a large tech company, and I want to hear just your history of how you rose through the ranks and where you're at now.
Yeah, that's great. So I started at Dell back in the late '90s, and Dell was a phenomenal company. Really difficult, really high expectations. Very much a performance driven. They really talked about it being a meritocracy. So, like literally everything that we did was based on it was pay for performance, right? It was, hey, we're going to promote the people that have the most success, and I love that environment very much thrived in that environment because when you're clear on what the expectations are, then we've got a decision to make and we've got an opportunity to rise to those expectations and to really to compete. So from my very beginning at Dell, I thought that was a lot of fun and really enjoyed that. So I was I was fortunate that I was raised by a single mom, and so my mom was a great example of what hard work looked like, and honestly, what a great example of what sacrifice and just doing what needed to be done looked like. So I was raised with a strong work ethic and with a performance mindset, and seeing what she really worked very hard for her success. So it was I guess natural when I got started in my career to follow in her footsteps. So my mom was a great example there.
Awesome. So how did you rise through the ranks in Dell? Would you come in as just a salesperson or?
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
I actually started.
what were the qualities of someone that Dell looked for in rising? Because you could be a good salesperson, but you doesn't translate to be a good leader or manager.
Yeah. So I think there's a whole thing: don't hate the player, hate the game, sort of thing. And in a meritocracy, there's always and in life really, there's always a lever. There's always, if you look at any game, there's a way to win the game. And I think at Dell and every role that I ever had, I figured out how to win the game. I started as an inside technical salesperson, so I was on the phone, and the initial metric was, so it was sales, and then it was also just phone time. I mean, it was literally, how much time do you spend talking to someone? Well, great. The phone time piece was an effort metric, and then the actual numbers were the results metric. And if you can, in most cases, if you can solve the effort metric, you put in the work to get better at what you're doing, but you solve the effort metric with the expert metric, then you get a great result on the other side. So that's what I solved for. I just would always solve for in a comp plan, or in a what was the performance thing they're asking me to do, and what was the effort thing they were asking me to do. If I could marry those, then I would get results. And so I was in that first inside sales role for, I think it was only like 9 months. It was a super short period of time before I got promoted to a field sales engineer role, and then I just continued investing in expertise. Always worked hard, but continued investing in the expertise, and I just saw a rapid rise. So I moved up the ranks on the sales engineer side. So the technical side, a little less sales, a little more technical, and then moved up. I think after after 3 years in my first field sales role, I was then became a leader, and then moved up the ranks pretty quickly from there.
So what I hear is it comes down to hard work, just putting in the work and putting, and obviously there has to be results, but I know in our organization there were plenty of people that were driven for success, and there's plenty of sales team members that you couldn't do anything to motivate them. They just were going to do what they were going to do, and the cream of the crop does rise to the top. So in that environment of high sales motivation by meritocracy, how do you marry a Christian perspective and when it's all about the numbers? I know, especially from a corporate standpoint, I worked at a publicly traded company for 2 years, and it was very clear that it was always about the numbers, and more specifically is about the quarterly numbers. What were the quarterly numbers going to show? And it's hard to build a ramp up, and especially build a relationship when you're only worried about the numbers. So how do you marry a Christian perspective in that high sales environment?
Well, so it's fascinating because on the one hand, those two things are not opposed, right? There's nothing there's nothing about Christian faith that, hey, we're supposed to do everything we do as if working for God, not man, right? So that looks like excellence. That looks like getting results. That looks like doing the best that we could possibly do. So on the one hand, those two things are not opposed to each other. On the other, we've got to get results, and we've got to demand results and perform at a really high level while still caring for the people. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that can be really tough. So the first thing I think is you've just got to be real clear on expectations. I've heard it said that kindness is clarity, or actually that clarity is kindness. And it's only when people don't know what the results are, they don't know what's expected. It's unclear what the win is when conversations are harder. Hard conversations can be easier when here's the clear expectation. You knew what they were when they came in, when you took the job. We specifically talking about the expectations, and you can separate. You can and should honestly separate a performance-based conversation from a human value-based conversation. When we're leading well, we understand what motivates people. We understand what's going on with their family. We understand where they came from. And we can separate those things from their job performance, right? People have value, even when maybe their performance isn't up to whatever the company standards are. And you can have conversations about performance. You can have conversations about the people themselves and their life and what's going on. And you can care about both things. And I think we should, and that's what makes a great leader. If you can really care about the person and really care about their performance, then you've got more of an opportunity to motivate people. You've got more of an opportunity to really help them succeed, because you genuinely care about both things, and you care about their performance, and you can really pour into them and develop them.
I love the way you said that clarity is kindness. I'm going to steal that, but that when someone understands their expectations, and our expectations is to do the best. We want to be the best. We want to be excellent at what we're doing. And when you clearly spell out what is expected of them, then they're able to thrive within those boundaries. And so that's really good. Tell me about, so you exited Dell and now you're doing Realty. What was the genesis behind that exit?
Yeah, so I've been married since we got married in 1999. So I'm coming up on 26, right? I'm already at 26 years, coming up on 27 now, and so we've got three boys. And while I was at Dell, and I did move up the ranks, and at one point in time, was running a third of the country and had a lot of people, and spent a lot of time on the road, spent a lot of time traveling, and our boys, as they got older, now they're 24, 22, and 18, as they were entering into their teen years, and dad was gone a lot, that was it was hard on me because I wanted to be there for them. It was hard on them because they needed dad there for them. And then my amazing wife had a lot of teen challenges around without dad for reinforcement. So that wasn't really that wasn't in line with our goals, and we were trying to figure out, okay, how do we make a shift? And the honest answer is, a lot of people struggle with that because you build up a lifestyle, and we've got a salary and an income and benefits and at this point expenses that are based off of all that. So that challenge can be tough. So we were just trying to figure out how do we get me home more for the kids, and then also we realized that the reality is I didn't have a lot of friends. I didn't really have a lot of community engagement because when I was home, it was all about what were the kids' activities, and I wanted that to be the case. So I was home for soccer and sports and spending time at church, but there wasn't a lot of time for community and relationships. So so all of that is kind of the problem statement, and we started figuring out, okay, what do we do? What do we do with this? We while going through all that, we bought land and built a big house, and while we had to get a rental property, and my wife in that process got recruited into real estate. So she started, and she was really the real estate genius. She could tell you floor plans and builders, and she could drive down the street and I call her Rain Man. She hates that, but I call her Rain Man because she's got that kind of memory for it. So she got recruited into it, and then as she's getting started in real estate, she's seeing that there are husband and wife teams, that there are people working together, and said, "Hey, I think this might be a business that we could do together." And she was right. So she mentioned that, she brought that to me, and I spent a good probably year reading, listening, consuming, researching, doing all the things to figure out whether or not that was going to be a move that might make sense for us, and it was. I got my license and got started, and actually January of 26 is my 10-year anniversary in the business.
Congrats. So going back to your crossroads at Dell, how would you encourage someone that's in that same position, but maybe they don't feel like they can exit at the point? How would you encourage a leader that's at the same crossroads?
Yes. So the first thing I would think about is, and really the challenge that I had was one of expense, right? And so it's looking at your lifestyle, and are you prepared, and or what can you do to prepare for the transition? So I was fortunate that we were able to pull off a relatively light switch. I walked away from all of it and then just hit the ground running. That is not the case for everybody. So I would start by planning that and thinking through how you protect and provide during that transition. But the second thing I'd tell everybody is, pray about it. Legit pray about what's God's plan for you? What's God's plan for your family? What's He telling you? Because many cases, right? He doesn't lay out the whole. He didn't tell Peter his whole plan for his life and how it was going to end. He asked if he could borrow his boat. Jesus asked if he could borrow Peter's boat, not laying out the entire plan for his life. So I would tell people to start praying with that, and pray for, back to clarity, pray for clarity on what your next step is, and do that full of faith. If you make moves when you're all prayed up, and if you make moves when you're all prayed up for the right reasons, and you're asking God for clarity on those, then God is good, and I believe that He's going to answer those prayers and honor those prayers and honor to serve Him. In my case, my goal was to spend more time with my family, to raise them in the right and God honoring ways, and you've got to believe that He's going to bless that.
That's a perfect answer. It starts with prayer, and God will open the door for the next chapter, or open the door even within the company that will give you more time to spend at family. I think we had to come to that crossroads, and it's kind of an awakening moment and going, oh, something's got to give. Like my pursuit of success is overriding my family relationships.
Yeah, and I'll also say that I did a little. I started in real estate on nights and weekends before I left my previous gig. It was important to make sure that I was faithful to my employer while I was working, but at the same time, I started investing in my next opportunity. And so prayer became about, hey, God, show me the time. If this is your direction, show me the right time to make a move. And in my case, that was super clear. Like the very first open house I ever hosted in real estate, I got 3 deals out of it. I mean,
Wow.
that's a really big, that's a
Great
huge,
confirmation. Thank you,
that's
Jesus.
a great confirmation, right? I was like, woo, stick the landing. And then I prayed about it, like, so what was right. And when I gave notice to my employer, they not only accepted it well, they actually asked me, I was giving a month's notice. They asked me to stay at least another month or 6 weeks on just answering the phone. And I was super clear about, hey, just so we're clear, that extra month, I'm no longer working. I'm just going to answer the phone and be available to you. So he even gave me an extended off ramp to make all of it work. So I just think anytime when you're really prayed up, really trying to do the right thing, trying to lean into what God's doing in your life, that he opens amazing doors.
Yep, so true. So at your new company or BlueFuse, you've got a couple frameworks, and you put the relationships above the transactions, and you've got the signature sales strategy and the buyer blueprint. Tell me what those are. What are those? What's the meaning behind those?
So I just think it's great to put handles on things. So it's a great way to have to explain what it is that you're doing in simple terms. And the biggest thing I like to talk about is talk about relationships and relationship business, and that's REAL. And I just think everything starts with real relationships. And if you can actually care about somebody on the other side of a transaction, an opportunity, a conversation, and really care about them, then magical things happen. Just for lack of a better term, you can really understand what motivates somebody. I've spent my whole life in sales of one kind or another, and one of the keys to our success has been the fact that no is always an option. And it's not trying to convince somebody of something. You're trying to understand what are their goals, what are the person's goals on the other side of it, and helping them solve their problem. So if you can really understand their motivation, really understand their values, really understand their goals, and you have a solution to that, then everybody wins. So whether it's a signature sales strategy or the buyer blueprint, those are just handles to help people understand what's the next step. Back to clarity is kindness. If you can be super clear on what are all the stages and what's the next step of the process, then people are never wondering what they should expect next. They're really very clear. And when you can walk them step by step, then they can do that with confidence. You started with what their goals are, and then every step of the way you can just tie back to that and remind people of what the goals are. Here's where we are in the step towards you getting to your goal, and then everybody wins.
So I hear it's asking questions, it's listening to what they're saying, because they may say it's something what their goal is not what you're trying to sell. And one of the things that I said in our business was, well, our business was mainly a wholesale distribution, so we supported the reseller that was selling to the retail public. I said, if we can do our job with excellence and be the best, then we can be a good supplier for our customer. And it's not just about that. It's about them being successful. I want them to be successful in what they're doing and what they're engaging in. And if my truck's late, if if our pricing's wrong or I deliver a damaged box, it puts strain on their relationship and their transaction, so they're unable to be successful. So hearing, listening, and understanding what the client is actually needing, and you being able to provide that. I love that you said no is an option. You might not be a good fit for me, so that's great. Let me help you find what you want.
That's exactly right. Zig Ziglar, he's got a great quote. You can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. And so if you can listen with an idea of helping the other person, whatever it is, like in business and life and in discipleship, if you can help the other person get what they want in life, then you can't help but win. Maybe it's right now. Maybe it's in the current deal, or maybe not. But if you actually want to help the other person, I think a lot of times where we get sideways is if we go into it thinking, okay, I'm going to help you so I can get what I want. Okay, that's probably not the right motivation, right? If we go into a relationship with our spouse that way, hey, honey, I'm going to do this for you, so you'll return the favor. Okay, she's probably not going to feel like you love her. He's probably not going to feel like you love him. But if you go into it, hey, I'm going to love you because I love you. I'm going to help you because I want to help. Well, then either that person or somebody they know, or maybe just somebody completely unrelated, because you had a servant mind that day, and that ends up coming back to you. So I just think that's a great help enough other people get what they want, then that's going to end up serving you.
It sounds a lot like love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. So sounds like a scripture to me. Has there been any? I know you found success at Dell and you found success at into the realty space. Have you ever engaged in any other business activity that hasn't been that successful?
Yes, I have. So we actually opened up a co-working space. That process started in 2022. So our real estate brokerage that we're affiliated with had a new concept, and man, on paper it was a great idea. We had a terrific location. We prayed up about it. We prayed. We had others pray about it. We went to our pastor staff and prayed about it. We had, during the construction, we invited our whole community in. We wrote scripture all over the walls and on the
wow.
But before we even got started, we were this thing was covered in prayer, and dadgum, this thing. It was dead on arrival. We were but before the business even opened, we were not successful and not likely to be successful for a variety of reasons. We gave it the old college try for right at 2 full years, and never got close to making money in any given month. Dropped our honestly dropped nearly our entire life savings onto it, and just closed it in this past October. So not everything comes up roses. Yeah.
So this idea was prayed up. You wrote scriptures on the wall. How do you reconcile that right now with your faith, and how does it make you feel in you felt like God was on this, but it wasn't successful?
Yeah. So, and it's a great question. And look, it's hard. I don't want to minimize any of that. We've been wrestling with this for years and come out on the other side of it. So sometimes I give off the impression maybe that it's easier, or it's but it's just because the amount of time I've spent in prayer in this thing. I think we often assume that because we prayed up and because we were told to do it, that it's going to be a financial success. And I don't find that in scripture. I don't, there's nowhere in scripture that, God says that he's going to give you all your money back. You could say, give and you shall receive, good measure, pressed down and running over, but it doesn't say he's going to give you your money back. You can seek first the kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. Um, yeah, but I mean, it's not, hey, I'm going to give you fat stacks of cash, right? He didn't say, so I'm still totally clear that that we were supposed to have opened the business. Um, in fact, I think that's one of the reasons why it's important in any major decisions in our life that we invite other people into prayer, because if it's just us praying on it, really easy for us to fall victim, like in the garden, to, well, God did not surely say. And I might be thinking after the fact that, well, I just wasn't listening. Well, maybe I missed something, and I don't feel that way. I feel like a few things. Number one, we're very public in this business, and we're very transparent, and the success we didn't have, and what that meant. And I think it was an opportunity for us to invite a lot of people on the journey with us, and to see maybe what it looks like to lose with grace. And we're not mad at God. God didn't do this to us. Um, we believe He did this for us, and there was so much. The way you asked the question was great, because we'd had so much success up until this point that you start to just believe that everything you're going to do has success. And if we believe that, then maybe we're not really relying on God. And what we're realizing in a lot of this is what I'm realizing in a lot of this is a lot of pride needed to die.
Wow.
There was a lot of me that just needed to die. And I needed to die to myself. And I mean, dude, that's brutal. I mean, it is brutal to look at things and say, okay, this needed to happen. This is actually a blessing because of a shift that needed to happen. But I guess it's better than the alternative. And not dying and not learning that the lessons that need to be learned.
Well, I appreciate you being vulnerable in in this. It's I am reminded of Romans 8:28 that all things do work out for the good of those who love the Lord.
Amen.
And you make a really good point that yes, God is a God of all of it, of the cattle on 1,000 hills. He owns all of it, and many times His ways are higher than our ways. Yes, He does give success. He does financially bless, but also sometimes He asks us just to be faithful, and then He shows up on the backside, and we receive something that we didn't even know that we needed to receive something, or what it was that He wanted to give us. I don't believe He's a God of failure. He is a God of success. So it will turn out not in our mindset. It won't turn out the way maybe we pictured it, I should say. And
Yeah.
So I just applaud you for being faithful in that endeavor, and also carrying that mindset through this process, because I think a lot of people need to hear just your opinion and your take on that experience that you're walking through right now.
Well, and what I'll say is, coming out the other side of it, God bless my wife. Our relationship has never been stronger. I was able to employ and spend time with my boys who were there and got to see us walk through that, and what that looks like, and what living out really difficult things on a daily basis looks like, and how to do that again with grace. We're surrounded by people that by great friendships and people that love us, and I mean, our lives are truly blessed. Do we have different and maybe fewer resources than we did before? Sure, that's a thing. But we still have a thriving real estate business. We still live in a great community and just have amazing things going for us. So, there's no reason to be sad.
Yeah. So I've got just a few other questions. Yeah, when you look at I know you're part of Faith Driven Entrepreneur, and you're also in leadership roles at church and at other areas. What is the biggest identity battle you see men facing in business today?
Great. It's great. So, and I just had this conversation with a friend this morning. We we identify with work and with
Mm-hmm.
performance and within a way in our ability to provide, and that's important because that's our role, right? Provision, protection, and leadership, right? So we're supposed to provide those things to our family, but we identify with that not as I mean, what we're here for is love God, love others, and make disciples. What we're here for, I mean, we were created on purpose for a purpose, to serve God, and He loves us. He loves us even after we've done everything wrong and before we do anything right. Our identity really is in Him, not in anything
Mm-hmm.
that we can do. Like we can't. There's nothing we can do to earn love, right? There's nothing we can do to earn salvation. That way we can't have any of that pride thing that I talked about earlier, right? So we base our identity many times on whether we claim it or not, on what we drive, on where we live, on which schools our kids go to, on all those things. Which um, it, look, there's nothing wrong with having there's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with having wealth and toys and all of those things. They just can't have us. And so we shouldn't identify with those things. We should identify being one of God's children, dearly beloved, right? We should identify as
Mm-hmm.
people that are here to serve Him and introduce Him to other people. Um, so that's the biggest challenge I see. That well, my wife won't love me if I don't continue producing at the same level that I did. Is, is that true? Or is that how you feel? Right? Because God certainly doesn't love you any less. I just think that's a real struggle for many people and many men.
That's so totally true. And I think a lot of people grew up in a home that there was this conditionality in love, whether it was communicated that way or not. It's um, the better we did at sports, the more pats on the back we got from dad, or the better we achieved in school, or whatever it was. There was a conditional aspect of that, and that just carries right into work. And so when you are doing better and better and better, it does feed the insecurities and the pride that are there. That unfortunately sometimes pride is really hard to see. Um, so how do people find you and BlueFuse Realty?
Yeah, it's great. So you can find us at our website is bluefuserealty.com. Super simple. And then we're on Facebook and Instagram at BlueFuse Group. So and then the last way, of course, is we've got a YouTube channel. That's YouTube/Moving to Dallas. Moving to Dallas.
Awesome. What's on the YouTube channel?
So it's a content that's either home tours or it's educational content about different neighborhoods, building a home. You know, all of the things that you need to know as it relates to making a move to Dallas or just moving up within Dallas.
So if you're looking to move anywhere around Dallas, if you're looking to move to Dallas, or especially in the Flower Mound, Westlake, Southlake area, look up Brian at the BlueFuse Realty. So I appreciate your time, Brian, today, and this is such a good conversation.
Right on. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's just been great getting to know you better.
Yeah, absolutely.